All right, everyone, hope you're doing well. We've got a massive week ahead of us as the markets brace for the FOMC meeting coming this week, and Bitcoin currently continues to hold around that critical $90,000 area while stocks are quietly floating up towards new all-time highs. Gold and silver have actually already broken into price discovery at new all-time highs. It's a truly strange mix here between strength everywhere, and we're also seeing fear at record highs as well, which is a very interesting indication to myself at least, so I've been paying close attention here. And before we dive in, folks, I need you to do me all a favor. I need you to stop what you're doing right now and drop a comment down below. Type the word Santa if you think that this market is going to rally into the rest of this month of December and the year, or the word Grinch if you see us pulling back for these coming weeks coming up. These polls help me gauge the sentiment of the community and push this content out to more investors like us. Really appreciate your feedback. My name is Paul Sampson. Welcome back to DataDash. Hey folks, today I'm excited to bring you something a little bit different. Over the past few years, I've been trading myself with Breakout, and I've seen the payouts, I've seen behind the scenes, and I've seen this company grow from a beginning platform to now partnered and backed by Kraken. And now I'm proud to announce that we are actually officially partnering with them as well. If you've ever wondered how to access serious capital, trade like a pro, and take risk off your personal balance sheet, then this is for you. Let's start with the fundamentals, because Breakout is a crypto native prop trading firm built for traders who already know the market and want to scale. They're backed by major infrastructure, and the transparency is solid. For example, you pick an evaluation, you hit the profit target while staying within those risk rules, and then you trade with a funded account. That means your risk is defined, meaning that you only risk what the evaluation fee is, while the upside is literally uncapped. Also, they offer up to 90% profit split once you're funded, so that means that the majority of what you make stays with you. I've personally used Breakout for years. I know how the rules work, I know what the payouts look like, and that's key in my opinion, because as a trader and investor in the DataDash community, you already know how discipline, risk management, and execution matter more than hype. And what I like most is that Breakout forces you to be patient, stay tactful, trade your plan. It's not a gamble a little until it pops mindset. You got to take it serious from the start. And I say that because yes, you can start small just to learn the platform, but if you're ready, I would say treat it like a primary trading vehicle. Use what your real trading size would be. Start with that full intent, and that's the mindset that would separate the top performers. So here's a breakdown of how you can get started. If you're interested, choose your Breakout evaluation, whether it's a 1-step or a 2-step. You then trade according to the rules, profit target plus drawdown limits plus daily loss limits. And for crypto, this is transparent. And when you pass the evaluation, you qualify for a funded account. Then you keep up to 90% of the profits from there. You can withdraw when you want, on demand, 24/7 in many cases. And the platform itself, it's built with crypto traders in mind, tight spreads, deep liquidity, full access 24/7. You're trading in the environment that you know. Now, if you're wondering, Paul, how do I know this isn't just another firm with hidden rules? It's a great question because Breakout's biggest angle is less hidden rules, more clarity. That means that you're not guessing what the payout schedule is, you're not unsure what the drawdown limits are, everything is laid out, and if you've been around prop firms, you'll recognize this advantage right away. And also, yes, it may cost a little bit more than some entry-level firms, but you also get the institutional side of crypto trading and you're operating at a higher level, and in my view, if you have the skill, this is a step worth taking. So if you're ready to trade crypto like a pro, take your risk off your personal account and access funded capital with a trusted partner, head on over to Breakout, check out their evaluation program. I'll be sure to drop a link down in the description below. And if you're looking for a place to help guide you in the evaluation process, to be able to find some of the best daily trade setups, you can head on over to datadashpro.com and access the Discord where I put these daily setups in each and every day that I personally use in order to pass my evaluations and to trade this daily as well. So check out Breakout today and be sure to use our affiliate code, which is down in the description as well. So Bitcoin continues to hold, again, around this like $90,000 region, really floating around between 85, 90. Some may look at this as a potential bear flag that we're putting in right here, right, where you see us basically having this ascending channel of price action after a huge down move right here, right? A lot of people would look to that, look to a breakdown to continue and then take us down to like $49,000, right? I've seen many looking towards that. Not to say that it's not possible. Of course, anything is possible in this market. But I do want to point out that we're still just kind of coasting and floating in this area. Let's take a look really quickly, again, at the most sizable setup, at least for myself, that I've been monitoring for the last few months here, where we had a top out around the week of September 29th, right? Two major targets, which was one pretty much met right away off that October 10th drawdown, secondary one over here at 93,000. And we can see here that how we have done both of of these has been relatively the same, where we've lost it, back tested, make our way down, lost it. We've back tested this level a couple times already, right? That $93,000 is just so crucial, folks. It's also our yearly open. It's a clear area of support and resistance. It's pretty much the number one level to me that I'd like to see us get back above, to see any type of sizable move back up. And even if it is just to get a lower high and roll over again, right? That's just really what we need to see here. Otherwise, as long as we're remaining under 93K, we just have to be open to the idea, to the technical setup here at least, that the next likely area to come down to is going to be that tariff low, right? So that just is what it is for this setup. No news needed, right? So this is just the setup at hand, and to me at least, very much aware of it. However, I've seen it many, many times where we come down, we front run some of these lower areas that everybody's kind of waiting on. We reclaim some ground, and that's where you have to be able to be a little bit more dynamic in your analysis. The bear camp, it's probably a 50-50 split, honestly, as far as some sentiment out there goes, as far as just listening to some out there. But when we look at the actual fear and greed indexes across pretty much any of the algorithms that manage this, it's extreme fear, which Bitcoin makes sense because, again, I think many are fearful that the 4-year cycle is over. The topping time was, right on time around that Q4 ending, because really we topped on the 6th of October, so it was the week of that. But there is just many speculative ideas right now that the top is in, the 4-year cycle continues, we're just going to melt down here, right? So I think that's the number one driver for the extreme fear in the market there, on top of, altcoins just really not seeing any sizable movements, and every pullback is just so fearful, whatever, right? We all can see it and feel this in the market now. Again, I just really have to point out that it's just a period where we could easily still flip a little bit of key areas here and get a move back up towards 100,000 plus, even if it is going to be a short-term move to see us roll over again. So we're just kind of in a really limbo-y neutral stage, in my opinion, and just kind of seeing how what unfolds here is really key. But yeah, crypto at extreme fear, which, like I said, makes a little bit of sense. The stock market has pulled up a little bit, had been at extreme fear for quite some time, like some really deep fear. I think it was like 6 at a point, just maybe, I guess, 5 weeks ago, because I definitely saw it on there. And when you look at some of these prices, I mean, you're talking Dow Jones basically at all-time high, S&P basically at all-time high, Nasdaq basically at all-time high. And again, I think it's just the overwhelming views that everyone is really fearful of a massive dot-com bubble 2008 style collapse, because we have seen very similar warnings across the board. It's time-wise, it's all on the same horizon here. So very interesting split between price action and sentiment, which I don't know of a time, at least in the stock market, where I've ever seen this. When we've seen nothing but up only for so long, usually the stock market is at least a little bit more, I don't know, at least neutral, but it seems like there's nobody interested in this market as far as, the sentiment would bring you to. Obviously, we've been touching on Ethereum for quite some, always. It's a, number 2 spot here in the crypto world. And we've seen a pretty similar setup here that we saw earlier this year, which I'd like to call the stairs down and potentially the elevator up scenario. We've got the exact same roll here, right, where you have this very slow grind down, a big area of support down here, as low as 2,500, honestly. So we've pushed into 26, got a little bounce so far. But same as Bitcoin, just really looking for at least a pushback into some of these areas, maybe back towards the $4,000 region. Really have to evaluate how things look at that point. But overall, we have seen a major decline. It's hard to get overly bearish, after a 50% pullback, at least where we are currently, right? It's just, we're in the camp where it's more likely than not that we at least see a rally back to the upside, or relief rally at least, right? A dead cat bounce, as many would call it. Like the fact that we're holding this region here. Again, it's a gold pocket from the overall $1,400 low to that $4,900 high. Gold pocket retracement, very common to see. So to get a bounce out of this region is the most likely area to look to. I continue to track this Ethereum BTC chart, which showcases a major bullish setup that I was looking to ever since 2023 to down complete in this region around the beginning of this year, which we did around April. And so far we've ran it really fast to the first major target zone, got a little cool down, and it looks like we're picking back up. This is the weekly time frame again, folks. So big time frame here. idea here is that ETH has potential to outperform Bitcoin going into pretty much the entire year of 2026. Now, that doesn't mean like it's only going to go up. And even in this case right here, right, we saw from where we were in April to where we were now, obviously we're a huge difference, but we all know that I just showcased how we saw a huge move to the upside. Still includes 47% pullbacks along the way. Okay, so in this move down right here, ETH came off 47%. So it's not a straight up type of deal. You still want to look for the best type of entries. And again, there's no guarantee that we see something along these lines, but this is something I've been tracking for quite a long time. It's still very much intact, very valid here. So looking to see how if we can float up into this region, which in theory should equate to the altcoin market doing relatively well, right? It might not mean everything 10 and 20x's and you can throw a dart and just retire your entire bloodline. But to see just moves like we saw earlier last year, 2024, right, around that March period when everything was kind of going crazy for the altcoins. Everybody's looking for that major altcoin season. I think that these bursts are a little different these days. I think we can all agree to that. And I know that this chart only is looking at ETH, so maybe it is just Ethereum that pushes up. I can't really roll this into anything else. But usually when ETH is outperforming Bitcoin, it's not doing it alone. So if they're going to see the case here, I'm looking for this move to kind of gradually float into this region, major target area up here. Again, just, kind of leans into the idea here that we're going to see ETH outperform Bitcoin. Now, does that mean that Bitcoin doesn't go down and ETH just doesn't go down as much? That could be the case as well, right? So we kind of have to see how things are unfolding here with the way that the sentiment is at the moment. Again, crypto is in extreme fear, and I think that many are very concerned, as you should, right? We're in a speculative market here. We are very frothy across the board. It's definitely a time where just caution is always warranted in this type of environment. But I think that we're also potentially poised for a move higher here in the altcoin, in the crypto market in general. I think that Bitcoin even has potential to see more upside in 2026. We just need to reclaim some ground, right? Again, I'm dynamic in the sense of looking for what the information is going to be suggesting, and I have to go with that. So, yeah, but either way, we'll be tracking this, all right? And if we zoom into a smaller time frame here, you can see how we're slightly picking up down here for Ethereum against BTC, okay? Similar, setup as just looking at it from the actual ETH price, where you got this almost like little staircase down and looking for a potential elevator up, but we'll see how that plays out. S&P 500 completely reverses that last drop, which was approximately almost 6% that we saw from the end of October into November there. All right, so pretty much the entire government shutdown basically. And has just really pushed it back up. We're flirting with the all-time highs yet again. I have highlighted these couple of levels because it would be nothing to see us pull down into that $6,100 level and then just get continuation out of there. Very common to see, especially after we've gotten pretty much no retracements out of this move so far. It's not a guarantee we get it. It's just one of those that you have to be fully aware of that. So when you're talking about risk at today's prices, the risk to me is high that we do see a pullback, right? So if I was looking to be a new buyer today, you got to be really aware that at any moment we could easily just see a 10% pullback and it'd be nothing in the sense of where we are. At the other side of this, we are floating into the all-time high. We have major targets just above us, equally about as far away, about 12%. It's more of an invested type of world, right? If you're already into the S&P 500, already invested for times before, like then it's one of those areas where we could see that 12% push up. This is the next major resistance. Not the best place to get involved brand new, because we're also at a high risk of just seeing an easy 10-12% pullback before we continue up, right? So that's just kind of where we're at there. But otherwise, S&P, ending the year with a banger, honestly. 2-3 weeks from now, we'll see how we close off, but what a move there. Nasdaq looks the same, just pretty much flirting with that all-time high. Potentially have a lower high situation here. So again, when we're looking at the risk here for what could happen, it's major target just above us. Would I look to buy brand new today for a potential 10% move at the all-time highs? I would not. That's just my personal risk management. because I think it's higher that we actually could see a pullback lower before we get any type of move to the upside. And if we don't, then I just wouldn't be along for this journey, right? I just would miss this. Nothing wrong with that to me. I don't care to catch every single move. I'm definitely looking for more opportunities when we get the pullbacks, okay? So yeah, right now it's just, again, similar to the S&P. If you're an investor already, be aware that we could see a $28,000 move to the upside as far as more moves up. A cool down to 22.5 is really nothing that, you know, should concern you even then. And yeah, we'll see. And again, we're going to see how the year ends right here. And Dow, I'd like to look at the three of these obviously almost pretty quickly, because they're all relatively the same, but I think it is a unified viewpoint of the overall market, okay? Because these three, you know, highlight a huge portion of all the stocks in the market, okay? So it's a really good pulse on the market, I suppose. But we got the Dow Jones sitting at the all-time highs as well, really held that little move down, similar to the other two. And I would say the same risk applies here, right? We have a straight up move with really no sizable correction, and this even wouldn't be, I mean, it's sizable, yes, but let's just pretend we pulled back to this 382, you know, which again is only a 38% pullback of this entire move up. It's really common, really normal, natural to see. Usually you see continuation from there. But from our April lows, we've seen a 30% move to the upside, all right, with almost no give back. So to see any moment here to get a 10, or what was that, even 6%? It wasn't even 10%. Yeah, okay, just below 10%. Very common, okay? So it's a period where like nobody knows where the market's going to go, of course. So as far as risk would go right here, same rules apply. Nasdaq, S&P, Dow Jones are all the same. Gold and silver, I'm about to show you, are really great examples of what I just highlighted as potential for the three indices, okay? So we saw this huge move out of gold, breakout, straight up, you know, all gas, no brakes type of situation. You get a pullback right to where? That 382. Now we're looking to seek some continuation out of that. But regardless, even if we don't, right, this is where when we were trading and seeing the price rally up into 4,200, 300, the risk at this point was very high to see a 8 to 10% pullback. All right, that's exactly what we got. And that's where, again, if you're looking to buy here, you should probably still be interested to buy there. To me, overall, I'm not interested to buy anything that is up like this at this point, right? If I'm not already in. And again, it's not because it can't go higher. It's just look at how this has moved, right? So I would be open to getting something like this on a deeper discount type of a day where we maybe retrace to a gold pocket, or you see a sizable correction. But obviously the big times to buy were lower, of course. So depends on how you are. Again, you don't have to follow my strategy word for word. Do whatever is best for you. Because like I said, not to say that doesn't mean these assets couldn't continue higher. It's just trying to find, the entry, in my opinion, is everything. Because you don't want to immediately be down 30%, 10%, 15%, whatever it is, okay? And if you are going to come in at some of those levels, I think the best thing to do is kind of scale your way in so that you have skin in the game in case it takes off, and then you also still have some dry powder in case it pulls back more. You can, adjust your buy orders and stuff like that. But overall, as far as analysis would go, nice move up so far, back testing, holding our 382, seeking continuation from here. The $4,600 to $5,000 would be the next areas there. Silver, another really great example of that 382 type of snapback. All right, so this is we'll just go all the way back down to this region, but we were pushing up into this area here in October 2024, and I was looking for this type of move. Again, all this was, it's two things. There's a high time frame a high time frame average price, also our 382, just kind of box this region off. And we moved into the 382 first, okay? And then we ended up getting a push and then right down to our high time frame averages. But overall, those two were the levels to really be aware of at the time. And it was nothing, right? To see two times we actually pulled back to it. And that was a 15% one time, 17, 18% the second time, even though price continued up, right? It's just one of those things that when we're trading here and here, you got to be aware that those two, or that type of move can happen, even though we're going to float higher. So once again, we don't know what's going to happen. If I'm making a trading plan, a strategy, an area where I'm looking to get interested, like I said, box this region off. When it came down to that, that's where I'd be an interested buyer. If I was nervous that it would just take off without me, maybe I'd scale a little here so I had some skin in the game, but dry powder on the side for the bigger move, okay? And then from there, now we got a better opportunity to get in. We have some sizable movement, some sizable levels to the upside to be aware of here. Blew right through this region. And just Really incredible move out of silver, $60. You know, we've kind of front ran that by just $1 basically. So we topped off at 59. I've noted that it's likely now, again, risk is more so that we probably get a little cool down between where we are and 60. So we could still push up a little. Again, you know, if I'm looking to be a brand new buyer here today, these are the things that I would think of. It's like, all right, am I coming in at an opportune time? Obviously, buying lower is the key, but once again, we're not there anymore. So what helps, you know, what can I do today? If I just had to have some silver, I would at least look for $50, okay? And that's going to be another 14% pullback, similar to what we saw down here. Now, the only thing about that is, again, we're at levels where, you know, you're seeing just since that move in April of this year, over 100% since, is that this year? Yeah, April of this year, up till pretty much where we are right now, or where we've already hit, up over 100%. So when you're looking at a bigger picture thing here, even though something is going to get, you know, a 15% drawdown potentially, you're still buying something that's massively up, okay? So it just has to come down to how you're willing and able to manage that risk, because everyone's in this market at different stages, and it just really does come down to you, right? It's nobody knows your life, nobody knows your plan, your time horizon, and all these things, right? So it just comes down to you. So again, I'm putting out information so that hopefully you can, you know, think on it to some degree, implement it, do your own research, all that good stuff, right? But yeah, we're up sizable. Major targets are being met. That's, you know, old news at this point now. So what can I do from here type of thing? Be aware that we could pull down 15% and still be okay. All right. And I think this is a local gold pocket, even if we take off that in the last launch. Sure is, right? It comes right back into that. So that would be an area if I'm looking for any type of more movement to come. And I think that if we see it, it's like, you know, we could push into $70 territory. But yeah, that's where I'd be very aware that we could come down to. And again, for me personally, if I'm like, I'm going to catch the next silver leg, I want to buy at least $50 down to maybe 44 again. And if it just launched up from here, then hey, the risk to me is too high to get in here. If it goes, it goes. I'll just find another opportunity somewhere else, right? So that's how I treat everything that is in a major rally, right? That's like, if I'm just coming on brand new and I'm like, I got to get a piece of this, like I look for the key areas, the next major fresh entry zones. Sometimes they don't hit, right? And that's okay. Like I just move on to something else. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for today's market breakdown. We're heading into an incredibly important week here, and the moves around this FOMC meeting could set the tone, not just for December, obviously, but for Q1 as well. Whether Bitcoin holds above $90,000, whether equities finally break into those fresh all-time highs, or whether fear continues to dominate, we're going to be here covering it every step of the way. If you found any value in today's analysis, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video with someone who follows these markets as closely as you do, and don't forget to check the comments down below to see whether Team Santa or Team Grinch is winning. Thank you as always for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay disciplined. I'll see you all in the next video, and until then, everybody, cheers.